Struggling with the front wheel lift? Do you keep trying over and over with no success? Your shoulders hurt, your back hurts, and you're just tired of fighting the bike. Here's the thing. The front wheel lift is the foundation skill for so many things. It's the key to bunny hops, which is the key to jumps, manuals, and so many other mountain bike skills. And if you can't get this down, progression halts. The good news is almost everyone who struggles with the front wheel lift has one thing in common. And today, I'm going to show you exactly what it is, how to fix it. Here's what most riders do wrong. They completely unweight themselves. They stand straight up, hop their body almost off the bike, and hope the front wheel follows. There's no leverage being created, so the front wheel stays planted. Let's think of it like this. And please, no physics majors, don't jump down my throat. Think of your bike as a lever, and the back wheel is the pivot point. Your weight is the force, and your handlebars are on the other side of the lever. If you just hop up, there's no force going through the lever. But if you shift your hips backwards, your weight naturally creates leverage, and the front wheel can rise with control. Think about it like opening a heavy sliding door. Are you jumping up while you're pulling? Or are you planting your feet and leaning back and pulling? So let's break down the correct form. The first thing we have to do is approach. And for this, we want bent arms, slightly bent knees, and looking straight ahead. Basically, a nice, relaxed, athletic stance on the bike. Step 2 is our body weight preload, where we want to drop our hips straight down over the bottom bracket, about half of the distance between your butt and your seat in your relaxed athletic position. This is then going to give you room to then shift your hips straight back over the rear axle. As you bring your hips back over that rear axle, your arms are going to start to straighten. As your arms start to straighten, it's important that your back or your upper body start to hinge slightly backwards at your waist, making sure to keep your eyes looking forward and not letting your shoulders fall inward. You can almost see my shoulders pull back like a slight row. As we do that, we're gonna push into our pedals with our feet, trying to keep our front heel dropped and pressure pushing into that pedal that's in the back. As you get that front wheel to lift, as you lean backwards with your body, you want to keep pressure on those pedals, as well as not letting your upper body fall towards the top tube. Your upper body holds the majority of your weight, and you want to keep that weight over top of that rear axle. Remember, this rear wheel is our pivot point. The whole bike pivots off of this rear wheel and axle. It's at this point where you're just going to sit and keep your weight in this position on the rear wheel as you go forward. The more you hinge at your hips, the more this front wheel is going to come back towards you. Once you've held it as long as you want, or as you can, that front wheel is going to start to fall back down, in which you're going to bend at your knees and bring your body back into that centered position on the bike, absorbing with your arms, kind of letting those elbows bend again, those knees acting as some shock absorbers, and boom, we're back in our attack position. As we watch this a couple times, guys, let's see how the size and weight of the bike affects my movements. You can honestly see some sort of kind of pull or jerk as I kind of go back into that back seat. And that's because of how heavy my bike is. This e-bike weighs about 50 pounds, and there's a lot of weight in the front of the bike. So this is where your bike fitment, weight of your bike, how big you are is going to dictate if your motions require a kind of tug in there or if you're just going to be able to use your body weight and the front wheel rises effortlessly. If your bike is heavy, you're going to have to put some oomph into that row part that you see right here, right there. Notice how I don't let my shoulders fall in and they kind of actually pull back a little bit. Let's take a quick look at that. Right? Boom. And now you're seeing them right there, kind of lock in, pulling back. Now, even if your bike isn't fitted perfectly or your bike is heavy, with some small adjustments, you can usually get that front wheel up and get yourself in this position. Let's look at a couple common errors and why they're affecting your ability to get the front wheel off of the ground. And the first one is kind of putting a lot of pressure into that suspension on our body weight preload. And this one also shows us just unweighting the bike all at once, taking our weight off of the bike in general. So as I come in here, I'm going to basically forcefully preload my body into the suspension. See how compressed that rear shock is? And I'm compressing that fork. As I do this, I'm going to then stand straight up. And then I'm going to try to pick this wheel up. But as I pick this wheel up, right, think of this as a big stick that's going to always lift up this way. So all my weight is going to end up being on this rear wheel, or all the pressure from the bike, rather, is going to be on that rear wheel. Completely unweighted from the bike. And now I'm going to try to lift the bike farther up, but that's going to bring my body forward and down because there's really nothing for me to push against with my feet to actually pull up and back. So see my body going forward, my body going down. And that's because all my weight basically stayed over the center of the bike or front of the bike when all that weight needed to be on that rear wheel where our pivot point is. When our rider is really trying to pull the front wheel off the ground, you can see that his weight is more or less over the middle and middle front of the bike when it really should be over the rear wheel where that leverage pivot point is. Again, this is leveraging up the front wheel. We're pushing in to the pedals and then leaning back off of the bike with our arms, kind of hinging at our waist. Look at this. Here in this one, I'm trying to pull up. I'm unweighting. I'm just pulling this way, not back to kind of lift this bike up this way. I'm just jumping straight up. Doesn't work like that. Once a rider starts to get that down and back motion, the next problem we usually see is when they're trying to leverage themselves backwards, they're going to let their knees kind of buckle more instead of pushing into the pedals and getting those legs to kind of push their hips back a little farther. So watch as I do that. Notice how my knees and my legs just buckle. As you slide back, you need to be pushing into those pedals to be able to lean back. If you lean back and don't push into the pedals with your legs, then it just pulls your body weight forward because nothing's stopping your body from going forward. Right? Wrong. Right? Wrong. Right? This is when your whole body, right, is kind of centered over it, right? I've got a bunch of body weight here, a bunch of body weight here, and then some body weight back here. As the knees collapse, I've only got a little bit of that weight really back there. It looks like it's centered, but it's really not. So what if you've started to get your body weight preload right? You started to push into the pedals with your heels dropped, but you're still not getting the front of the bike up. And that may be because you're letting this upper body fall and your head's looking down. As you do that, you lose all kind of leverage with your upper body to hinge at your waist. So again, the front wheel just falls. It's important to keep that upper body facing more or less down trail. And as you hinge back, your upper body is going to start to point up in the air. Remember, guys, this front wheel lift isn't easy, and it can be also really scary thinking you're going to loop out. A good way to find out how much force it's going to take to loop out is actually to try to loop out. And I'm trying it here on my e-bike, and it's quite hard. But let me tell you that if you're having a hard time keeping the front wheel up, remember that you want to push through the pedals. Here you can see I kind of struggled to do that. And instead of pushing through, I stand up on top of the bike. With this next one, down, back, right? And here's where you can kind of start to see my shoulders stretching. And I don't want to let those fall in. There you go. I got that row. I'm pushing through. And now you're literally just going to step off of the pedal. Now, I've done this a billion times, but I recommend you start in the grass so that if you do stay on the bike, you're kind of just looping out into some soft surface. Remember, guys, you want to be able to push through the pedals while you're leaning back and hinging at your waist. So one of the key takeaways, guys, is don't unweight yourself off of the bike. Remember to shift your hips back over that rear wheel, that rear axle. Make sure you're pushing through the pedals forward and you're pivoting or hinging at your waist so your upper body can leverage back. Always remember to look down the trail. Give this a try and let me know how it works. I want to thank you guys for coming to this episode. If you enjoyed it or it helped out, please let me know in the comments. And as always, my paid Patreons make this content possible. If it weren't for them, we wouldn't be producing content. So please be one of the reasons we can continue that and become a paid Patreon. All of our support links are in the video description. If you want to just hit me with a one-time thank you, please use my PayPal or my Venmo. Those links are also in the description. If you have any questions, again, please in the comments. If you'd like me to make a video, please let me know in the comments. Always make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Rubber side down.
Goodbye.